Jesper observed his boss. He occupied close to a quarter of his massive office. His flesh rippled, orange skin stretched taut over shapeless muscle and fat. Steam cascaded off the boss as Gambian 5 sunlight sped his metabolism, courtesy of the transparent roof that gave leave to an open clear sky. Jesper knew the boss can kill him and not be held accountable. He'd done it before. 13,000 times, to be exact, to former assistants. A creature as old as time itself. A being who gained sentience and realized that the best way to conquer the galaxy was not through war, or ragged prophecies or politicking, but through commerce, innovation, progress. The boss built the Transgalactic Company, the teleportation industry, the Tangent Weaponry Organization, the Trans-Interquadrant Colony Placement, and the Terra Bank. That's why they called him Boss T, and his organization, the T Branch. Every credit, coin, or currency passes through the Terra Bank. Planets took loans from the bank, and failure to pay resulted in dire consequences, with the bank seizing valuable resources, labor, or just property. Boss T owned planets. To every being in the galaxy, Boss T was a god. Without him, there would not be any teleportation. Without his funding, the greatest minds of the galaxy would not have been able to come together to crack the mathematics behind space and time. The whole galaxy knew this. Boss T certainly knew it. That's why many thought him to be cruel, but which god isn't? Boss, Jesper started. His tentacles trembled, slithering about the ground, covering it in slime. I'm sorry. Start from the beginning, Boss T said. The voice emanated from somewhere within the mass of rippling flesh. Jesper couldn't tell where. Just as he couldn't tell where the boss's eyes were placed amidst his massive form. Yet he could bet his life the boss was watching him intently. Ever weighing the value of his life. Sir, I just want to say I'm sorry, Jesper started, but was cut short by a sudden pain at the brain sacs lining his vertebrae. It was abrupt and fleeting, yet his impression was clear. A psychic attack that was a nudge in the right direction. It started at our outer branch, the one close to Earth. I know the planet, Boss T said. Labor. Yes. It's populated by humans who also happen to have this thing they call the spirit of adventure. So they just venture into the unknown for no reason, and that's how we got to hire some of them in the Transgalactic Company. And it's because of them that there was a galactic-wide strike of the company that later spread to your other companies, boss, Jesper said. He suddenly felt a deep foreboding, like the calm before the storm. The temperature rose in the room. Beads of perspiration suddenly riddled the transparent roof. Steam rose from the boss, thicker and more tenacious. His skin seemed to switch from orange to red. How many humans? The boss did not speak to Jesper through sound. No, the words were spoken directly into his mind. 2 humans, boss, Jesper said, tone quivering with fright. The boss was now in his mind. He could see everything within it. Jesper knew that when the boss was done rampaging within his mind, he might fall into a vegetative state if the boss didn't heal him. Jesper watched helplessly, like a passenger, as Boss T moved like a tide across his mind, sucking in every bit of information regarding the humans, arranging it in systematic order, in tangents of time and occurrence. Then, when Boss T had a clear picture of the trail the information forged, the boss walked upon it, and Jesper could feel the searing gaze of his employer upon the very threads of his thoughts. The mistake was that the Transgalactic Company did not tell the 2 humans they first hired that the transcom, the network formed from brain implants that enabled a direct communication link with other workers across the galaxy, was not a private line. The transcom was created so direct immediate messages can be sent across different branches of the Transgalactic Company, which would later spread the data to the whole T branch. Every single employee of the T branch generally avoided using the transcom, despite having received the brain implants upon employment, as is mandatory. Many feared that use of the transcom could open one to psychic attacks. This was after many reported an inability to separate their conscious self from their work self, claiming the implants made them unable to do anything but think about work. Some also claimed any output shared, can be scanned by management and might result in getting fired or exterminated. In the case where one is simultaneously fired, and they disappear off the face of their planet and universe as a whole. This resulted in many turning off the input feature of their transcom link, and only activating the output feature, meaning they can receive what might be valuable information, but can't provide information, so their neural link isn't fully optimized, and full psychic manipulation becomes highly unlikely, so too sharing of data that might result in one getting exterminated. This resulted in the transcom network being a place of general silence, where the only data transferred across the network is from the T-branch companies about certain general notices that occur once every century or so. A millennium had passed since the transcom had been used for direct communication between two working individuals, as said data would result in all 27,000 branches of the T-branch observing the conversation. This information was not made available to the humans, as the interviewer who hired them at the time thought it common knowledge not to fully optimize one's transcom link through their neural network. Upon being implanted, the two humans, Terry Longschlong and Matt Bolsack, proceeded to fully optimize their neural link and have the following transcom data transfer sequences while thinking they were on a private channel, something that doesn't exist within the transcom. Important log highlights relating to the galactic-wide strike that resulted in the complete halt of the T-branch. Log 0012. I don't know why they were shot when we immediately fully optimized. Like, what did the fucking aliens expect? They were giving us powers. Only a fool would turn this down. They look so shot though when we fully optimized. Should we be worried? I can't believe I'm stocking field modules into a crate while speaking to you telepathically, without moving my lips, while we're in different parts of the building. Their shock means nothing, Terry. We have powers. I can send you images directly into your mind. Do you know what this means? I can share memes with you. Imagine how easy life would have been on Earth if we had this kind of technology. You wouldn't have to debate with your girlfriend about where you want to go for lunch, because you can just share thoughts with her, and she'd inevitably understand that you have developed feelings for her mother, as well as where you like to have lunch. All in one go. 2 birds with 1 stone. Amazing. I don't really see that as an advantage. Sometimes when we exchange thoughts, I get glimpses of things, Terry. Weird things. Sometimes it's just a flash of an image, coupled with words, but neither are related. It's odd. What image have you seen for our transcom chats? Well, where we fully optimized and started telepathy talk, I saw an image from your point of view. Some past memory of some past action. It was raining and you looked to be kneeling in the rain, hands balled into fists, beating repeatedly onto the wet puddle you were kneeling in, while sobbing unrelentingly. Oh, that's something that happens to me once in a while. Care to expound? I was raised on silk shirt R&B, so all that incel shit never hit for me. I believe in begging for the pussy. Outside in the rain, crying, throwing up just for a sniff, that's your role as a man. So that image, I was probably outside a woman's door or window, somewhere where she can see me. The downside to this is the rain. Without the rain, chances of getting laid plummets. That's why whenever I'm horny, I always check the sky to see whether there's a chance of dark clouds or dry spell. If we continue sharing this neural link or whatever, are chances of our personalities merging a real thing? Because I grew up on country music. Oh my god. Don't tell me you owned a truck or your wife left you with the kids. My father did own a truck. It was red and the tires were always streaked with mud on account of the fact that he had to travel to and fro across miles of dirt road just to take me and my 6 siblings to school and back, since our mum left us to fend for ourselves and the crops in the field. My parents also separated when I was young. My dad cheated on my mum with a woman who had one leg shorter than the other. When my mum found out, she started limping around the house saying that's what my father liked. This eventually resulted in the divorce. We come from broken homes. Oh my god. We are trauma bros. We are trauma bonding. End of log. Log reaction. Across the T branch, millions of workers simultaneously set their notification relays to be notified whenever Terry Longschlong and Matt Bolsack exchanged feed through the transcom, ensuring their link has a higher response rate than company notifications. The reason for this is still unclear. Log 0370. Is it me, or are our fellow workers looking at us weird? I thought so too, but then I realised one thing, Matt. Back on Earth I used to care so much about what others thought of me, but here I am now, light years away from a place I believed defined me. Why then should I carry the same prejudice I used to have from another world? New world, new me is my mantra now. I don't give a shit about what the aliens think. I don't care whether they whisper behind my back, sneak glances at me on the craft Veta, or when they pointedly gawk at me while I'm at the mess hall. I am a new man. I tried that whole new world, new me thing, but it didn't quite pan out. You have to have a reason behind your transformation, otherwise the transformation won't occur. Think about the boss of this corporation. They call him Boss T. It is believed that he is a sentient mass of flesh, just a big, giant steak that can think. He climbed up the scope of every society's perception upon countless planets, by transforming himself into what many claim to be the most powerful entity in the universe. How do you assume he was able to transform himself from a slab of shapeless meat to god-tier stardom? By starting an occult. Wait, what? I was going to say that he did this by finding a reason behind his transformation, but I'm quite eager to hear your take on the matter. I don't have a solid take on the matter. It's just that our fellow workers are odd. There's this somber, saggy vibe they have to them, like they are stuck in a routine they don't want to be in, but don't know how to escape it because of fear of what will occur outside the damp place they've come to see as their comfort zone. It's just, I see it in their eyes, Terry. They have nothing to live for other than the repetitive tasks set for them to do. It's no different from Earth. Is that why you left Earth? To find something you'll be passionate about? I left Earth because the woman I loved died. Oh, I'm sorry. I loved her so much, but she just died. Died young at that. And I remember there's this dress she wanted to buy before she was diagnosed. It was quite an expensive dress, and I dissuaded her from buying it because it would mess with our food and rent budget. But when she was diagnosed, I took the little cash I had and bought the dress, and we promised each other that she'll wear the dress when she beats that stupid disease. But she didn't beat it, and she died. And at the funeral, she was dressed in that dress, with that odd pattern of orange flames amid red feathers. Damn, that sounds like quite an ugly dress. It was. After she died, she appeared in my dreams and she was wearing a white gown. I was so mad at her. I spent so much fucking money on that stupid dress, and when she came to haunt me, she didn't even bother wearing it. Women! They light up the world. That's why it's called broad daylight. Why did you leave Earth? That, my friend, is the reason behind my transformation. Expound. I did not even for once consider leaving Earth for greener pastures. I didn't believe greener pastures existed. When the space shuttle started coming to ferry us to different planets, I remember thinking the whole thing to be stupid and cowardly. But then all that changed. I remember it was on a Wednesday. I had to cross a very long bridge with a walkway that's partly crowded on my way to work. I've done this numerous times with nothing out of the ordinary happening. The bridge walk was long, above shifting waters that told of dark depths. I sometimes contemplated jumping off the bridge, just to see what it'd feel like to sink to the bottom. But on this particular day, as I was brushing shoulders with fellow commuters almost halfway across the bridge, my stomach suddenly rumbled. I just knew at that moment that I had explosive diarrhea. Right there on the bridge? Yes. I had all the symptoms and signs of explosive diarrhea. From the rumbling tummy to the discomfort and pressure on the anus. I felt like farting, and I knew at that moment that I was going to shit myself if I did so. I looked around me. I was too far from the end of the bridge. People were everywhere, walking past me and giving me odd looks, so I did what any man would do. You jumped into the water? No, I tried fighting it. Tried taking one step at a time, my target being the end of the bridge where I hoped there would be a toilet. But I realized I was losing the battle. So I unfastened my belt buckle, lowered my pants, and lowered myself right there on the bridge walkway. Better shit on the ground than shit on myself. There were gasps of alarm, people pointed. Others took out their phones and started recording. A child screamed. A lone bird circled in the distance. I covered my face and just willed the diarrhea out of me. Instead, I just ended up farting. A long, very loud trumpeting fart with men, women and children crowding about me where I was squatting on the walkway with my pants down. Turns out I didn't have diarrhea. It was just a fart. I pulled up my pants, turned around and walked back from whence I came. Straight to the shuttle bay, boarded the first shuttle out of the planet, and here we are. Log reaction. This particular log resulted in T-branch workers researching in depth the past and present state of the planet Earth, taking in depth the composition of the Earthlings known as humans, with many ordering tickets to venture into the dust bowl of a planet. An unprecedented feat. Roughly 3 days later, a galactic-wide strike occurred, as Terry and Matt went for consecutive days without being seen at their place of work, or posting on the transcom. Many feared they had been exterminated, hence resulting in the whole company ceasing its work functions in solidarity to the two humans. A feat that spread and paralysed all the other corporations. Jesper gasped, falling onto the ground before Boss T. He patted his head with whipping tentacles. He then observed his limbs and poked his flesh. He was whole. He was alive. He'd survived the psychic attack. Boss T had healed him and given him a chance to live. Jesper stared at Boss T. The being seemed different. His skin had changed to a colour Jesper had never heard being associated with the boss. It was silver, and a rumbling sound seemed to emanate from him. It took Jesper a moment to realise Boss T was laughing. "Were they exterminated?" Boss T asked, after a span of moments of silent laughter, while Jesper gawked. Jesper suddenly feared his answer might draw the boss's ire, and within moments he'd be dead. Still, he spoke the truth nonetheless. They weren't exterminated. They just decided to skip work to do something called day drinking, but the brew that was alien to their usual Earth drinks was too much for them. They blacked out for a week. We found them passed out over a toilet bowl in one of their apartments, but by then it was too late. The galactic-wide strike was already underway, with many believing them to have been exterminated. To Jesper's surprise, the boss laughed once more. "Put them on the next shuttle and have them come to me," the boss suddenly said. "Sir, are you going to exterminate them yourself?" Jesper wondered. "Of course not," Boss T said. "I'm going to promote them."